Hey everybody, this is Rizon from Increaser.org, and today I want to share with you how I generate color palette at Increaser so that you can find some interesting bits for your project. Let's jump in. At first I had a color palette with uniform distributed colors across the hue range, but lately I decided to get rid of colors that are similar to the background. So you can see there is no blue color, and the closest color to the background is this purple one. So in order to do that, I made some modification to the functions that generate colors. I use HSLA to store colors. So it is format with hue, that is color itself, then saturation, lightness, and alpha. So here we want to work with hue, and both saturation, lightness, and alpha would stay the same across every color. We want to have 12 colors in our palette, and in order to get the color, we would export this getPaletteColor function that would take the index and return one of the 12 HSLA colors. The function was super simple when colors were distributed equally across the whole hue range, but in order to provide this sophistication, we need to add some extra code. To exclude colors similar to the background, I have this palette hue ranges array, and if I would want to reuse this logic in other project, I would make a function, because this option is hard-coded, but it works for Increaser. So here we have from 0 to background hue minus 50, and from background hue plus 50 to 360. That's a maximum number in the hue range. Then we want to represent this range as an interval, so that we can later generate this point on interval. So it would be a number from 0 to 1. Find an interval we want to take color from, and then map this point to the element on the range. First we go over every range and calculate the coverage of the hue. Then we take its sum. So in that case it would be 260, because we reduced 50 in both cases. And afterward we want to generate an interval. So in that case it would be 2 points. So it's something like 0.6 for the first interval, and the second interval would be from 0.6 to 1. In our situation it would be an array of 2 numbers, and the last number will always be 1. Then we go to the getPaletteColor function. So first we calculate the point on interval. So we take the mode of the index, because index could be larger than 12, and divide it by palette color count. So we have point on interval, it's somewhere from 0 to 1, and then we want to find the range. And to do that, we use findIndex and find the index of interval, whereas point on interval is less than point on the interval. Then we want to find out interval start and interval end. And if the range index is 0, it will be always 0. So in that case, if we get the point from 0 to 0.6, interval start would be 0 and interval end would 0.6. Then we calculate interval length. So in that case, if it's 0 to 0.6, it would be 0.6. Then we find the range by accessing an index. So in case it is a first range, we would end up here. Then we want to take range coverage. Knowing that, we can map from a number from 0 to 1 to a specific hue color by using this formula. So we take the start of the range, and then we add this increment on the interval. And finally, we return HSLA with custom hue, but palette color saturation, palette color lightness, and alpha stays the same. So that's all. Hope you found something interesting. Stay productive.